Hi everyone, happy 2025. I can't believe it's already 2025. It's a new year, a new start to any reading goals that you have. For today's video, I thought I'd just do 25 books I want to read in 2025. Now, last year I got a total of 35 books. And that was way too many. I wasn't struggling to finish them at the end, but I was like, I just don't have enough time. Even though I did make it, but that was because one book I read was 50 pages just to get to, just to add another book. But this year, my goal is 25. I hope I read more than 25, but just to start. So, these are the books that I personally want to read at the moment. Now, here's to say that there's not going to be, a book I see in a couple months that I didn't know was coming out that I wanted to read, or if I pick a book up at the bookstore and I'm like, oh, I'm going to read this now. These are just, it's a rough outline. So I have my computer here. I broke it down in some categories, that way I don't know why, I just did. So, in no particular order. So, first book on the list is going to be Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I've heard so many great things about this book as well as the author. I've heard people give her books 5 stars all the time and they're constantly recommending them. So, this is one that I want to read. I think she has, this is the second in an interconnected standalone with, I think it's Part of Your World. I read the back of it and I don't know, this one just is more appealing to me, so maybe if I really like this one I'll go to the next one, or go to the first one. Another one that is not on this list but I heard is very good is Just for the Summer. So maybe it'll eventually land on my list, but so far I have Yours Truly. Next, actually I'll do these together since they're by the same author. I have Betting on You by Lynn Painter and Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I have read Happily Never After, Mr. Wrong Number, and The Love Wager by her. They all, some of my favorite books I've read, so I thought I would give her YA books a chance, and I couldn't really pass up this one with the cute pink heart edges, and it looks really good, so there's that. There is one by her, oh, it's called The Do-Over. I don't know if I'll ever get to that one just because it's I think, from what I've read on the back, it's like a Groundhog's Day trope, and I cannot do a Groundhog's Day trope. I don't like reading the same thing over and over again, even if they are different, each time they go through the same day. I don't know, just not my favorite. So I'll stick with these so far, and maybe I'll do a reading vlog of these two, reading Lynn Painter YA books. Maybe, I don't know. Next is By Thread by Lucy Score. I think that this is going to be my first book I read this year. It is quite a big one, but I have heard only great things about Lucy Score. So yeah, I don't know, one of my coworkers at work was like, oh, my niece loves Lucy Score, you should read it, you should try her book. So I've been wanting to read this one for a while, so I think that this might be my first book of the year. Nothing too crazy, just seems just like a fun read. Next two are also by the same author. I only have the physical copy of the second one, but it's going to be Wildflower and Wildflower. No, it's going to be Wildfire And what's the other one? Daydream by Hannah Grace. I read Icebreaker like so long ago. I can't even remember when I read it. It's like, it's not even like the mass produced paperback, so like it doesn't match these, like it's completely different height, same everything, but I heard that people like the third one better than this one, but I want to get through this one before I get to the third one. I mean, I really liked the first one, even though it's like got so popular and mainstream. I mean, it got popular for a reason, so I want to continue this. Love a hockey, it was hockey, right? Hockey romance book. But this is not based around hockey, it's based, they're in a summer camp, the counselors together. Yeah, summer camp counselors. Okay, that's all I know, and I don't know about the second one, or the third one, but these two, I'm gonna get through those this year as well. Next is The Fiancé Dilemma by Elena Armas. I read Spanish Love Deception, The American Roommate Experiment. I don't even know where they are, but I don't know if this is like, I think this is in that section, like in the, they're all connected with that. I don't know actually. I know the first two are. I just think her books are funny, they're lighthearted, like they're entertaining. This is Fake Engagement. That's always fun, right? So I have this, and then I know she has another one called The Long Game, I think. That one also looks interesting. Maybe I'll get to that this year, but definitely want to get to this one for sure. Alright, so last in this little romance category is going to be The Striker by Anna Huang. I read the first two books in the Twisted series. I don't really know if I have an interest in finishing the last two, but I heard that they're really good. They're popular for a reason. So this one just seemed interesting. Like a soccer player and a ballerina. Like what? I would love to read that. So this one is also pretty thick. I was thinking of reading this one first, but I kind of want to read by a thread just a little bit more, but I know that this is a part of a series as well. I just don't think, oh, there's a playlist. Oh my god, lots of Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga. Okay. Oh, there's content warnings. Okay, interesting. Anyways, so we'll see how this one goes. I don't know, starting another series by Anna Huang, so I'm interested in that one. Alright, so there's two on Kindle that I really want to read. The first one is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. I saw one TikTok about this and I was like sold, I have to read it. I have to read it immediately actually. I really don't know what it's about too much. I just saw like a clip, like someone put the dialogue in it, and I was like, I have it already downloaded on my Kindle. So that is one. I've never read anything by Megan Brandy, but I looked up her, like the book on Goodreads, highly reviewed, so I'm gonna read that one. Another Kindle one, well I guess this one could be, they both could be paperback and Kindle, but just because they're on Kindle Unlimited and I saw them on Kindle Unlimited, was Wait For It by Mariana Zapata. I want to eventually get through every Mariana Zapata book, just because they're so good. They're like 500 pages of just the slowest burn in the whole world, but it's like so worth it. I read All Roads Lead to Here? Why does that not sound right? Okay, yeah, it is called that. Whoa, that was weird. So I read All Roads Lead to Here last year, I think. 5 out of 5, so good. So maybe this year some extras will be more Mariana Zapata books. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this little romance category here. So next is mystery thrillers. I have lots of Frida McFadden. I read so many of her books last year, and I just can't believe she has even more books that I have yet to read and more coming out. So the first one is, let's just do this one. The Housemaid is Watching. This is the third in the Housemaid series. I bought it right when it came out, but I've just been more interested in reading her other books first. But this one I definitely want to get to, and I know that the movie, I think it's just barely starting to film. I wonder if they're going to do a movie per book, but this one I'll definitely get to. I might have to do like a skim of the first two just to kind of remember what it was about, but this one definitely want to get to. Another one by Frida McFadden is The Teacher. She's just great. I want to read every single book of hers, but the last book I read by her was The Boyfriend, and that one was so good. That one I had no idea where it could have gone. And something about Frida is she'll like put like foreshadowing at the beginning of her, like, or throughout the books, that you won't even know until you know the plot twist, and you're like, oh my god, they were alluding to that the whole time, but I never even caught on. So definitely The Teacher. And then I want to read Ward D by her as well. That one I don't have the paperback of, but I do want to really get to that. I don't know if it's like published like these are, so maybe I'll just have to find it on Kindle or find it somewhere else, but that's another one. Okay, this one is called Tender is the Flesh by Augusta Bazterrica. Butchered that. I know I did. Speaking of butchered that, that's crazy. Yeah, I know this is considered like a horror book, but I don't know, it's really intriguing. Every time I like walked past it at the bookstore or like thought about it, I'm like, oh, I really want to get that. Like, it seems really interesting. It's like a fairly short read. I don't know, it just seems interesting. So, oh, that chapter is really short. This is just one chapter. So definitely want to get to this one, maybe towards like the fall and the winter where it's like kind of spooky, but I want to read this one. Alrighty, and some new releases that I don't have physical copies of because they're not released are Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Every book that she has published in the last few years, automatic buy. I should go through like her backlog and see if any other books I should read by her. But Great Big Beautiful Life, I'm so excited. Funny Story was one of the best books I've ever read. Like, I was gonna say last year, but honestly just gonna stop that sentence there because it is so good. Like, I read it when I was out of town, so I wish that I was a little bit more focused on it, but I was just so excited to read it that I had to read it then. So maybe that one will be a reread. But she's just, like, you cannot beat her writing. You can't beat her books. Anything she writes is like automatic 5 stars. So that's one I want to read this year. I think it comes out in April. Alright. Another new release is The Crash by Frida McFadden. I don't know when that comes in, maybe March? I can't remember. But we all know my love for Frida McFadden, so of course I have to read her newest release. Duh. And then next is Wild Side by Elsie Silver. I guess I kind of jumped the gun, but I will just talk about this one now. I Want to Read Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I read the Chestnut Springs series. One of the best series I've ever read in my whole life. Where have I been? Where have I been not reading it? I've heard countless people talk about how good it is and how it's like the most immersive, like best well-written series. I can't even talk, I'm so excited. It's like one of the best well-written series, like period, ever. And it took me so long to get into it, and then once I did, it was like I had to read them like so quickly. I will say my favorite is Reckless, the fourth one. Yes, the fourth one. So good, so good. So I had to pick up this series. I read, what is it, Wild Love, after Chestnut Springs series, because I was like, I need more Elsie Silver. I need it, or else I'm going to not make it through the next day. So I started that one. I picked this one up. Want to read this one this year, as well as the second or the third one. So that's gonna be another one, another series I will continue this year. I heard that people liked this one more than the first one. I liked the first one, but I'm hoping like it just gets better as it goes. So Wild Eyes and Wild Side are two I want to read this year as well. Alright, so that's all for new releases I had, just like on the top of my head, honestly. I know more books are going to come out that have either yet to be announced or that I just haven't seen yet. So those are like the main three that I've seen. Next is continuing series. I know some of like the first category I did, there's some series in there, but these are just ones that either are like ongoing series or big series I want to finish. So first one is Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. Can you see it? I read the first book. The first book was the first book I read last year. So it's the first book of 2024. I have yet to get to this one yet. I think I was just so intimidated because they're so long and I wanted to reach my reading goal. So I think by having my reading goal smaller, I'll reach for bigger books because I'll have more time to read them. But I love Lauren Asher. Dreamland Billionaire series was so good. This one, the first one was really good. I'm excited for this one. Who doesn't love a billionaire, right? Like, alright, next, you'll be so surprised with me that I have started this series. It is the Addicted Calloway Sister series. I read the first two. Yes, I read the first two. I read Addicted to You and Ricochet. And honestly, I haven't really gotten into it yet. Like, towards the end of Ricochet, I was like, okay, yeah, like I could continue this series just because I kind of want to see where everyone plays out and how it is, like, such a sought after series. So I shall continue that this year. So far I just have these two on my list of books I am going to read this year. The rest of the series is in my like honorable mention section, just because I know realistically I can't get through all of these books as well as the rest of a 10-book series. So these two are just on my list as of right now, and maybe Hot House Flower, but these guys for sure. This is gonna surprise maybe no one, I don't know, but the next three books in the Shatter Me series, I had reading vlogs of the first two books and the novellas, I think, on my channel, and I just never picked up Shatter Me again, or the Shatter Me series. I heard that the third one is everyone's favorite, like this is the best book. This was supposed to be the last book in the series, but I guess everyone wanted more, so she continued writing more. So I definitely at least want to get to this one just to see what everyone is talking about and see how Aaron Warner kind of, I don't know, maybe is a better person in this one. But these, I'm excited to continue these. They're YA, so they should be quick reads. But I don't know. I'm excited. I don't know if this is the year I'm going to be getting into any fantasy books. They always intimidate me. I know everyone talks about ACOTAR and Throne of Glass, but I can't get into another like 5 and 10 book series. Maybe after Addicted Calloway Sisters, I will venture into that next year. But if there's any like single book fantasies that anyone recommends, I'm all ears. But we'll see if this is my extent of any sci-fi fantasy books. Alright, and like I said, I have some honorable mentions that if I get to them, I get to them. If I don't, it's whatever. Like I said, the rest of the Addicted Calloway Sisters, I don't know. I mean, people are like rave so much about that series and like how you really just get to know these characters and you really like are immersed in this world. So I want to see if it really lives up to the hype. So maybe I'll finish the rest of that. Let's see. And like I said, the rest of the Shatter Me series, we'll see. I mean, if they're quick, they're quick. I know that there's another one coming out this year, I think. I don't know how much more she could write about this series, but I'm excited to see if I finish this and if I will read the newest release. Alright. Then there's Miss Allie Hazelwood with Not in Love. I don't know. I've heard very mixed opinions about this book. Therefore, I have yet to pick it up. It is rather a short read. Oh, never mind. It's 379 pages. It's very deceiving. But I just heard people really couldn't get into it. So I let public opinion sway my thoughts on this book. So maybe I will break the mold and I'll read it finally. But like, I've read 3 of her other books, like, you know, the core 3 that she has written so far. Well, like her most popular ones. I have yet to read Bride. I feel like that one is too sci-fi fantasy for me, but I heard it's really good. So maybe I'll get to that one as well. I don't know. I can't keep adding books, but maybe this one. Alright. And then the last 2 that are in my honorable mentions are the last 2 in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I read the first one like maybe 3 years ago. It was good. Like, it was, you know, a YA murder mystery. Like, it was a good book. But I just hadn't reached for these 2. This one I got for like 50 cents at like the library's like booth at the farmer's market, and I was like, oh my god, maybe this will get me to read it. I still have it, and I appreciate that I spent 50 cents for it, but maybe I'll finish these. Heard this one got really dark at the end, but I don't know. I can handle it, right? So I have these 2 as my last honorable mentions, and those are all the books that I want to get to, or are like my main ones I'm going to be choosing from for this year to finish my reading goal. You know, like I said, if there's another book that pops up here and there that I want to read more, I'm going to read it more. This is not a rigid list. This is just books in this moment that I think I want to read for this year. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will keep you updated on my reading journey through this year. Thank you so much.